Let's talk about a hidden financial trap that catches thousands of grieving American families completely off guard every single year. It is a strict federal policy that allows the government to quietly claw back money right out of a deceased loved one's bank account, leaving families confused, frustrated, and short on cash when they need it most. Most people assume that if a Social Security check arrives in the month a person passes away, that money belongs to the estate or the surviving spouse to help cover immediate expenses. That assumption is completely wrong, and acting on it can trigger major administrative headaches. Today, I am going to expose exactly how this mechanism works, why the government pulls that money back, and the specific federal document, Form SSA 1724, that you must use to reclaim what your family is actually owed. Before we break down the step-by-step process, please subscribe to this channel right now and turn on the notification bell. The guidelines surrounding federal benefits, asset reclamation, and estate rules change constantly, and the families who stay connected here find out about these critical procedures before they are forced to navigate them under the fog of grief. Hit subscribe and let's get straight into it. To understand why your family might be missing a final payout, you have to understand the fundamental timing flaw built into the Social Security system. The federal government operates on a strict system of paying benefits in arrears. This means that a check issued in the month of June is actually covering the living expenses for the previous month of May. Because of this lag, when a beneficiary passes away, a massive point of friction occurs. By law, an individual must live through an entire calendar month to be legally entitled to the payment for that month. If a loved one passes away even a single day before the month concludes, they are technically not entitled to the check scheduled to arrive in the following weeks. What happens next is what catches people completely by surprise. The Social Security Administration relies on automated data sharing with funeral homes, financial institutions, and state medical registries. The moment a death is officially logged into the electronic ledger, the system triggers an automatic reclamation request to the bank holding the direct deposit account. Without warning, that final check disappears from the account balance. If a family has already spent those funds on immediate funeral costs or outstanding medical bills, the bank will often reverse the transaction anyway, pushing the checking account into a negative balance and triggering steep overdraft fees. This is where the true gap in communication lies. While the automated system is incredibly fast at taking money back, it is completely silent about how families can recover funds that were legitimately earned but swept away in the blanket reclamation. The government will not proactively mail you a manual to fix this, and bank tellers will rarely know the federal procedure to reverse it. If you do not explicitly ask for the money back using the correct legal framework, the funds remain permanently inside the federal treasury. The key to unlocking these clawed-back funds is a legal document known as Form SSA 1724, officially titled The Claim for Amounts Due in the Case of a Deceased Beneficiary. This document exists for a very specific purpose: to establish a legal hierarchy of who has the right to claim underpayments or mistakenly recovered funds left behind on a deceased person's record. When you open Form SSA 1724, the structure requires you to clearly identify the deceased individual using their full legal name, date of birth, and exact Social Security number. But the core of the document relies on establishing the proper federal order of precedence. The government will not distribute these funds randomly. They follow a strict statutory sequence. First in line is always the surviving spouse who was either living in the same household at the time of death or is already entitled to survivor benefits on that specific earnings record. If there is no surviving spouse, the right moves entirely to the children of the deceased person in equal shares. If there are no surviving children, the line moves to the parents, then to the legal representative of the estate, and finally to the next of kin according to the specific inheritance laws of the deceased individual's state. Filling out the document requires extreme precision. Any discrepancy between the names listed on the form and the official records held by the federal government will cause the automated intake system to reject the application, forcing your family to restart a waiting period that can take months. You must gather the deceased person's official death certificate, clear proof of your relationship to them, such as a marriage license or birth certificate, and detailed banking records showing the exact date and amount of the automatic payment reclamation executed by the financial institution. Once the paperwork is fully assembled, do not make the mistake of dropping it into a general mail drop or attempting to resolve this through an unverified online portal. The most effective way to ensure processing is to contact your local Social Security office directly to schedule an in-person appointment or send the completed packet via certified mail with a return receipt requested. This creates a concrete paper trail that forces an administrative agent to log the case into the system. Once processed, the agency will verify the status of the clawback check, confirm your position in the statutory order of precedence, and issue a direct electronic payment or a physical treasury check to the rightful claimant. Navigating the financial aftermath of losing a family member is deeply overwhelming, but letting earned benefits slip away simply because the system is designed to take money fast and return it slowly is a mistake you cannot afford to make. Knowing that Form SSA 1724 exists gives your family a distinct defensive tool to reclaim your loved one's final piece of retirement security. Share this information with your parents, your siblings, and your friends, because having this specific operational knowledge before a crisis hits is the only way to keep your family's money where it belongs. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if you have dealt with a benefit clawback before, and I will see you in the next video.